Praise the Lord, church. That song goes along well with the story I'm going to tell tonight. You may be seated. I know Brother Enzi texted me last Wednesday. He goes, "Can you do my story next Wednesday?" He goes, "No pressure, but your son-in-law is preaching that night too." So I said yes. I'm ringing up here, brother. If I have to give this story a message or a title, it's Peace Through the Process. I'm going to go back in history a while and start before Daylene and I got married. I'm going to be throwing out a lot of dates, so I'll try to emphasize and reason why I'm giving you those dates. Because it's the mighty God we serve. He has everything in control. He's always on time. Might not be our time, but he's always on time. He knows the future. We don't. So in 1980, the number one employer in America was General Motors. December 1st, 1980, I was hired at GM as a millwright apprentice. On December 5th, 1980, my grandfather passed away. My boss came and got me, told me to go ahead and go home. And if anybody here works in a union, you know you can't miss a single day in the first 90 days, or they don't have to call you back. My boss said, "Go ahead and take Friday, Monday, and Tuesday off." On Wednesday, I was back to work. To me, that was an answer to prayer. They didn't have to do that. On January 25th, 1980, Daylene and I got engaged. In April of 1981, I put a contract on a house. The realtor didn't want to write the contract. They said there's no way they're going to accept that contract. She wrote it. They accepted it. She said, "If I'd have known that, I'd have bought that house myself." I was actually at church working that day in the kitchen with my mom when I got the call. She goes, "That was a lot of prayer." God is a prayer-answering God. Daylene and I got married on September 19th, 1981. November 30th of 1981, I got laid off. If you're doing the math, I had a year's seniority at GM. By now, Daylene was working. Unemployment was slow sending checks that year, holidays and everything. In February 1981, well, it would have been 82, bills came due. There was not enough money in my account to pay them. My dad told me to go ahead and write them. I'm thankful for a dad. They'll support you in thick or thin. After I wrote the checks, the very next day I got 5 checks in the mail. God's working behind the scenes, people. I started working 3 jobs to make ends meet. In June 20, 1983, GM called, wanted to know if I wanted to come back to work. If you've done the math, if you got a year's seniority, they only have to recall you if you have 1.5 times that, so that's 18 months. June would have been 18 months plus 3 weeks. They did not have to recall me, but they did. At this time, just a little history, there was 8 Yokums working at GM at that time, and not to brag, but we had a good reputation. Later, Daylene and I took a vacation to Virginia Beach. We was running out of money. It was the day before we was to leave to come back home. We decided, well, we're not going to eat lunch or dinner on the way home. We was walking across the parking lot that night. I looked down and there was a $50 bill. My wife's laughing at me. We got to eat on the way home the next day. In 1986, we bought a piece of property to build a house on. We applied for a loan to build a house, getting ready to close on the loan. But Miranda decided to come 3 weeks early. Daleen quit her job to stay home and take care of her. The bank found out that Daleen had quit her job. And the Friday after she delivered Miranda, she got a phone call from the bank and said, "Since you quit your job, you don't qualify for the loan." That same day, they called back. "The interest rates dropped. You qualify now." And this is the main miracle, I feel, in my story for this particular time that Brother Enzi wanted me to share, because he wanted me to testify about a provision. In November 2025, GM announced that they was going to close the plant I worked in December of 2006. They announced that if you had 27 years of service, you could grow into retirement with full retirement. If you've done the math, I only worked there 26 years at that time. I would have had 26 years at the end of 2006. My options were to take a $140,000 buyout and cut all ties with General Motors or transfer to another plant. Brittany was going to be a senior in high school that year. She didn't want to move. I didn't know what I was going to do for sure. I said, "You'll be able to graduate where you want to graduate." In March of 2006, GM came out with another announcement for our plant. If you have 26 years credited service by June 30th of 2006, you can grow into retirement with full benefits. My boss called me into his office and said, "If you work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, I think you might make it. You need 1,650 hours a year for credited service." So I worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and I finished June with 1,652.6 hours. We have a God that knows the future. Because the only way that was possible was in 2005, I did not take a vacation day, did not take a sick leave. So, a GM, if you don't take any vacation or sick days, you get paid the following year. So those hours counted for my time towards that hours that I needed. I was only 46 years old at the time, too young to retire. December came around and I didn't have any definite work plans. GM announced they were going to keep the plant open until December 2007, but with all new hires. They hired an outside firm to run the maintenance on the building, and they wanted to hire a few maintenance workers that knew the building. My boss called me into the office and asked if I would be interested. God's right on time. My last day at GM was December 22nd, 2006. I started my new job December 27th, 2006. I've been retired for 19 years from General Motors. No matter what Mike Simon thinks, GM is a good place. I had to do that because he's always bad-mouthing GM and thinking Ford's so great. The amazing thing about this story is a union official told me he knew of only one other person that this benefited from the 26-year announcement. I worked maintenance for the contractor for over 2 years. I met Corbin and Alan Smith on a job at Grand Hospital. That's not why we're here, but I didn't know about it until we came to visit, and I saw them here. I've worked with my nephew in the construction business for 13 years, and now, if he really needs me every once in a while. What I want to make a point is the first check I write is for tithes, and God honors that faithfulness. After I was doing this here and I was all done, I happened to get on the computer and on internet, there's a saying, and I want to read it to you. Just because you can't see what's next doesn't mean God isn't guiding you. Faith means taking the step before you see the path, trusting the voice of God even when the view is foggy, obeying even when it doesn't make sense. You may not feel ready, you may not have all the answers, but faith isn't about feelings. It's about trusting the one who never fails. Let go of needing to see it all before you believe it all. You were never meant to walk by sight, but you were meant and made to walk by faith. So you might not know what tomorrow holds. None of us do, but we serve a God that does. If you put your trust and faith in Him, He'll never fail you. Philippians 4, verses 6 through 7, be careful for nothing, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Jesus Christ. Thank you.